I am the chosen one.
Ain't no stopping what the Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one.
Somebody had to do it.
Chosen one. This great nation is under attack, and its real leader has arrows in his back. So many greet him with a Judas kiss, but God gave us a warrior for such a time as this. I'm standing with the chosen one. Ain't no stopping what the Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one, the chosen one. Brothers and sisters, lay down your stones. There's only one God and He's still on the throne. I'm standing with the chosen one. Ain't no stopping what the Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one, the chosen one. He stands for me, He stands for you, He stands for freedom, He stands for truth. Trump is the chosen one.
And that was the latest and greatest song from a friend of CPAC's and someone who I'm honored to have on our CPAC Now show, Natasha Owens, award-winning contemporary Christian artist. Natasha, thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to talk about your latest hit, The Chosen One.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to be with you guys.
So I got to tell you, of course, I'm sure the liberals are, as you mentioned in your tweet, are freaking out. And I'm sure you were always, as we were having this conversation about this song, The Chosen One, that probably even Christians were thinking, oh my goodness, what direction is she taking this song? What has been your response thus far after the release of The Chosen One?
It's been very entertaining to read all of the comments, both good and bad. You know, we did it on purpose, calling it The Chosen One. And it was a little bit of a clickbait to get a little bit of publicity. And, you know, that we're finding out that the people who do not love President Trump at all, and that includes some of the Christians, hate the song, absolutely hate it. They're quoting scripture to me, which I find very funny, not the Christians, but some that are atheists that have never opened up their Bibles or have never opened up a Bible, is cracking it to read to prove me wrong, right? But on the other side of it, the people who see the battle, the spiritual battle, they see what President Trump has been through, they all of them are loving it. Even Christians, pastors. I'm surrounded by a lot of Christian people that I did this song as a sounding board to them before we put it out. And so I have nothing to hold my head down about. I do believe that hopefully you will see through this interview that we're standing on a firm foundation with this song.
Oh, absolutely. I actually, when I watched the video, it's just so inspiring. And it shows, I think, the human side of Donald Trump, the side that people, that the leftist media, they try to destroy this man day in and day out. They try to demonize Donald Trump. And yet you're able in this video to really show, I think, his warm side, the side of loving family, loving country. And the fact that he has at this moment, you know, he's in a pivotal moment in history. And it's really, we need the lion to lead. We need the strong leader to lead. What inspired you to write the song?
Well, you know, a year and a half ago, I sat at Mar-a-Lago on the lawn and I did a concert for President Trump. And I have a warrior song on one of my Christian albums, and I dedicated it to him. I said, I feel like God has protected you. Anything that's thrown against you, you're either the most honest man on earth. they would have uncovered a lot more stuff if you weren't, right? I feel like God's protecting you. I pray for protection upon you. And I think you are a warrior sent to us for such a time as this to lead us and protect us and push against the evil. And so Wayne Allen Root approached me last year when the Trump One song came out. And he said, I wrote an article back in 2017. The liberal media went nuts and said that Trump was calling himself the Messiah. I was calling him the Messiah. And I did an article called The Chosen One. And I said, oh, Wayne, that's fantastic. I see where you're coming from. He said, we need to write a song. And I said, I don't know about that. We have to make sure if we do, we write it in such a way that we show how an imperfect man can be used by a perfect God. And we see examples throughout the Bible, throughout time, with King David and King Cyrus, yes, and Esther and Ruth and all of these, and Paul himself, how God uses people but they have to choose to be used, right? They have to stand up. And what an amazing man President Trump has been in the fact that he hasn't given up. I don't know too many people who would. He is definitely a lion who is blazing a path to try to protect us.
And it teaches us, I think, all of us a lesson that we all are called, to serve God in his glory, that we are called, this is our moment in time, where we are given our talents and our skills to be able to do what's good in this world. And, you see so much of this, evil, good versus evil situation that we're confronting here, not only in the U.S., but across the globe. And I mean, we have to be that witness of light. And so we're, in a weird way, we're all kind of chosen, you know what I mean, by God to serve his purpose during this time. And highlighting Donald Trump, I get asked all the time, they're like, how does Donald Trump get through one trial after the other? He just sits there. He's constantly, at the courtroom, being constantly persecuted with the possibility of going to jail before the convention. I mean, Natasha, what's your sense as you're watching this unravel? And I think this song is a song of hope for those of us that are looking at everything, all the persecution he's gone through, saying he will get through this.
Yeah, right. I wanted it to be a source of hope to President Trump and to anybody who follows him. I want to make it clear, I'm not calling him the Messiah at all. I'm just saying that throughout time, people are chosen. And I'm looking at this trial and I'm thinking, the left is so scared. When you look at who is fighting for, and you're looking at who is fighting for freedom and who wants to take our freedom away. God is a God of freedom. Mm-hmm. The devil is a being of wanting to keep his people in bondage, right? So that tells me which side that we're on, and we're on the right side. And so I'm looking at it and I'm thinking they are scared to death. I just continue to pray God's protection, and everything just rolls right off of his back and nothing sticks to him. Yeah. And that's what makes me think that he is definitely, just by putting 3 judges, pro-life judges on the Supreme Court that overturned Roe versus Wade, that right there is God's work.
Well,
right?
It's God's work. And Natasha, what you're seeing is this coordinated attack by the left to take down Clarence Thomas. Now the latest, of course, going after Samuel and Martha Alito, where they had secret recordings of Martha Alito. Natasha, basically, she's talking about her Christian faith, and they are bashing her and targeting her. I mean, this is scary times for someone who's a Christian trying to just speak up freely about their faith. Is that what you're sensing?
Absolutely. This is a war on Christianity, and the churches better wake up. They're on the sidelines. They're not fighting. 47 million evangelicals are not registered to vote. That's insane. We wouldn't be dealing with this right now. They just don't want to be persecuted or hated, right? But they have to understand this Build Back Better plan is to completely destroy our foundation, and our foundation was built upon Christ. So this right here is not a battle between left and right. This is a battle that we're fighting between good and evil. And we can prepare to what we are to work until he comes back, right? Yeah. And so not just sit on the sidelines and allow them to take our territory and for evil to encompass the world. We are to push back against that. And I'm definitely trying to do that. I'm trying to wake up the Christian world and pull them a little bit to the political world so that we continue to be a center influence in our society.
Yeah. And I have to say, the left loves to do this whole, you guys are Christian nationalists. You guys are just pushing your religion into, I'm like, dude, we're at a point right now in our lives that having prayer, having people pray, having families come together in prayer it's basically this country that was, our founding fathers, many of them who were prayerful men, that for the left, they want to just eliminate prayer. But when they take out prayer, when they take out God, what do they replace it with? They replace it with their God of climate change. They replace it with their God of a woke agenda. And it is completely destructive to the individual and to the family. And so, I think as you're watching this, I mean, we were just in El Salvador together. You were with us in part of that CPAC delegation for Nayib Bukele's inauguration. I mean, what was your takeaway when you were listening to his inauguration speech, him talking about first thanking God and really saying that he's doing this and asking for God's wisdom and understanding?
It reminded me of the time where we had President Trump at the helm and we had Reagan, and back to a time where actually we didn't have moral decay, right?
Yeah.
I do believe he is leading with God behind him, Bukele. And when you look at his interview with Tucker Carlson, he said, I can give you the official and unofficial statement on how we did things. The unofficial is we don't know how we did it. It was a miracle. And he said, I remember many times getting on my knees with my cabinet at 3 and 4 in the morning and saying, God, you've got to give us wisdom. You've got to give us protection. You've got to help us. And so this war here in America, we can pull it back, but we need strong Christians on their knees telling God that we need their help. We need his help. And we have such a moral decay, and it's going away from our biblical principles. And we've allowed the left to infiltrate all sides of culture.
Yeah.
And they call it standing in the gap. They call it a culture gap. We have to have people who will stand up and stand in that gap until we can pull the moral compass back in line with godly principles.
So you're unafraid. You've been criticized immensely from your song, the Trump one of my favorites, which you got to sing at CPAC, which we were very honored to have you sing that song. And then the second protects the first, talking about the Second Amendment as well. And now the chosen one. I mean, how do you personally get through all these vicious attacks?
On my knees in prayer. God gives me that strength. My husband helps give me that strength. Good people coming to my defense and loving the music and appreciating. I want to be a center influence. If I can influence just one person to stand up and be brave and be courageous and push it back against the evil, then I've done my job. But I was in contemporary Christian music, and I did a patriotic album, which Nashville frowned upon. I did a pro-life song, which they frowned upon. And suddenly I had radio stations and promoters getting me fired off of events.
Jeez.
And so I said, you know what? I don't want to stand in an industry that doesn't stand up for life. That's why I veered political. And I thought, I am going to give the people back an anthem to any topic that we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
And that is our freedom, that's guns, that's God, that's any topic that the left just enrages about, mostly life, guns, and God, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to help other people stand up and be courageous as well.
So you and David, of course, would be like perfect Thanksgiving guests at our house, because we talk about politics and religion all the time. You had Donald Trump. He posted. Trump won hitmaker. Natasha Owens declares former president the chosen one with new singles. That with the new single, that was a fantastic push. Where are we right now in terms of like whatever, what is it, the billboards or whatever that is, on Apple Music, like where are we?
Yeah. So iTunes is just a capture.
iTunes, there you go. I'm so like 1990s. I don't even know anymore. So bad.
Yeah, me too. I've had to learn. So we've had so much publicity over the weekend that by Saturday night it had risen to 29 on the iTunes in less than 24 hours, from 187 to 29.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. When the publicity kind of backs off, it always backs off on Sundays and Mondays. It drops again, but it's a long game when it comes to iTunes. It will climb the charts again. It hasn't done it as fast as Trump won, but the analytics are so much greater for the long game on this song.
Yeah.
Billboard comes out. Billboard takes an analysis of iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, all of it. And it comes out like once a month. So we definitely made the Billboard charts. And I'm just excited. I think this has a long life on this one.
Yeah. And
if people can just get past that title. But I think if I would have done it a chosen one or the anointed one or the fighting one, they would have still had an issue with it, right? They would
Right.
still, they think that they have something to rub in my face and say, well, you're blasphemy and you're an idolater. Anybody who thinks that, I challenge you to actually go listen to the words of the song and take those rose-colored glasses off.
That is right. I don't think you're going to be invited to the Grammys. I'd be shocked. But
No.
we need to come up with like our own conservative cancel-free Grammys. That's what I think I got to get David on that. Your husband, if anyone can do that, it would be your husband. I do want to get your just some comments. You were just at a 3-day conference in Laurel, Mississippi, doing some fundraising for Destiny Rescue, an organization that protects children from human trafficking and sexual exploitation. We actually here at CPAC have the Center for Combating Human Trafficking. It's very near and dear to my heart. Talk to us about Destiny Rescue and what they're doing.
You know, they are amazing. They're an organization that goes in and does covert operations, and they go in and save these children and adults from sex trafficking. And they do it all across the world. They're not allowed into the barriers of the United States. United States has 911 and our DHS and FBI, and they're not cooperating with them. My goal is to get them to help at our southern border. But all around the world, they've saved 14,000 children and adults from the sex trafficking. And what I love about it is in the rehabilitation and trying to help them with their scars, their emotional scars, their physical scars. They teach them about Christ and about Jesus and build back their world on a better foundation. And so I just love that. And, you know, I posted that on social media, and the same people who are coming against me on The Chosen One absolutely has blasted me about helping with sex trafficking.
Oh, 100, yes.
That right
yes.
there. That right there tells you what side we are definitely on the right side.
Exactly.
And, you know, I wrote that pro-life song, and I thought that's my mission, to help save babies. And the Lord just kind of spoke to me one day, and he said, you know, you're doing a great work for me. You are saving these babies. However, you stop the day that they're born.
Yeah.
And that slapped me upside the face. And I thought, God, you're right. What do you want me to do? And within a week, I had the sex trafficking topic surrounding me every day. And so I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I'm supposed to walk this road to help babies from the womb to the tomb, right?
Yeah.
And help God's children. So we've just been doing a great work raising money for sex trafficking. And I thank you for being a part of this type of ministry and saving. It's where my heart is, and I know it's where your heart is too.
Absolutely. What's the name of the pro-life song?
It's called Stand for Life.
Stand for Life. Okay, well, you all have got to follow Natasha Owens. You all got to get her to #1, because let me tell you, I love it. You are on the edge. You are willing to fight. You're the type of warriors that we need, except you're super, super talented. See, I couldn't even sing a note for you. Okay, Natasha? It's so embarrassing. But you are an incredible singer on top of all of that. Where can people find you? Where can they follow your music and get your music?
Sure. Well, the landing page is natashaowensmusic.com. It will show you all. I'm on every social media imaginable out there. Wherever you download your music, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, you can get that digitally. Just go to those platforms or Google me. If you want hard copies of any of my music, you can go to natashaowensmusic.com. I've got a store there with all kinds of merch and music. But the biggest thing you can do is just share it with everyone, buy it on iTunes, and just blast it from pillar to post. We want this message to get out, and it will give an anthem to I believe, our movement of this time for such a time as this.
Yes, you'll love the music. And Natasha, I know that I've talked to David about getting a CPAC song, so no pressure. Just if the Lord, if the Lord inspires you, that would be great. I just cannot be your backup singer in any way. I can send the Schlapp Girls. They know how to sing. Natasha Owens, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. God bless.